How's it going, 3D printers? Andrew Singh from 3D Central here, and today I've got a super cool build video for you to watch. This is Rose's sword from Steven Universe, and it measures over 3 feet long. This was remixed from a Thingiverse design by Dorito for her, and we broke it up into multiple segments, added a bunch of detail and a lot of hand-painted parts. It has a hilt, a handle, a handguard, a rose, of course, and a blade that has strengthened segments and a bunch of really cool stuff. This thing is big, it looks cool, it's really fun to print. It's a great costume piece because it's really sturdy and it can be printed out on a relatively small printer. I'm also going to introduce you to the person who actually designed this, and that's Chris Caswell, who designs a lot of the stuff here at 3D Central. And if you ever downloaded any Carry the What designs, like our octopus magnet or the rotating skull gear from Thingiverse, this is the guy who made them. Bye, Chris. So he does a lot of our designs and he works on a lot of really cool stuff here. So if you've ever downloaded a Carry the What design, that's the guy who made it. Yeah, so this is what we're gonna be working on. This is a really fun build, and if you watch this video, I will show you exactly how to build this awesome giant sword. All right, you ready? Let's do it. All right, welcome back. I'm gonna show you how to put this together, but first you need to actually print it out. So to print it out, the pieces you're gonna need, there's 4 pieces for the blade, 3 connecting pins, the hilt, the handle, the rose base, the rose, and the handle guard. And that's it. Just print those pieces out. And then we're gonna assemble it. So we're gonna start with the blade. That's the easiest part to assemble. And once you have that put together, then we can put together the hilt and the handle and all that stuff. But first we're gonna start with the blade. You ready? Let's start there. So the first thing we're gonna wanna build is the blade. And this is the easiest part. There's only 4 pieces. You've got the tip, the base, and then 2 middle sections. And then you've got these 3 pins. And these pegs you just put inside the blade parts to hold it together. And if you look at the inside of the blade, you'll notice one end has like a chamfer on it, so it's actually been squared off. Then one end comes to a tip, so you can actually find the matching part on the blade to mate them together so they sort of fit like this. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna sand them so that they're nice and gritty, and then we're gonna super glue them together. And then we're gonna assemble the blade just like that. So we'll start by just sanding down a little bit. That's just to give it a nice gritty surface, to give the super glue something to really stick to. And now we're gonna take the super glue and put a liberal amount of that both into the hole and onto the flat part of the blade. And then we're just gonna go ahead and slide that peg in. And then repeat that process to the other side. So apply some here to the hole and then a little bit to the flat part. And now go ahead and mate those 2 pieces. You'll want to apply pressure for about 10 seconds or so. And once you've done one, repeat this 2 more times and you'll have a completed blade. All right, and here we have the finished blade. This has all 4 of the segments connected. We have the tip, 2 middle segments, and the part that connects to the hilt. We have the connecting bits inside, and they run the length of the blade. Important note about those, you wanna make sure those are actually printed laying down. If you print them actually upright, they're not gonna be very strong. They're gonna snap in the same place as the sword. If you print them lying down, they're gonna be pretty strong. So this thing doesn't have a lot of flex to it, even though it's been super glued and it just has that one connecting bit at the seams. This is still pretty strong, like it feels pretty sturdy. Even though it's like a bigger piece, it still doesn't have a whole ton of flex to it. So for cosplay, for like carrying this around a convention, I'd feel pretty good about walking around with this. But it's pretty big. This thing feels pretty sturdy, feels pretty good. Now ready to move on to the next part, which is going to be doing the assembly of the hilt and the handguard. And then once that's built, we're gonna go ahead and mount this blade to it. So let's move on to that. All right, so now we've built the blade. The blade measures about 30 inches long, so it's pretty big, but it's finished and now we've made it. So now the next step is going to be attaching it to the hilt. And once you've printed the hilt out, you can actually paint it. And you can add a lot of detail to it and it looks really cool. So we added some detail to ours by painting it and adding some detail to the raised portion of it. And now we're gonna attach the blade. So When you do that, make sure, you have to pay attention, there's a small bump on the hilt, and you can see it if you run your finger around the rim. You can feel a bump, and that's where the handguard is going to go. So make sure the blade on the edge of the blade faces that bump for the handguard, and place the blade onto the hilt, and then press down so the edge of the blade is going to be flush with the raised white portion of the hilt. And then what we're going to do is we're going to put some hot glue in from the bottom. I'm going to have Chris demonstrate how to do that, and we're going to install the blade into the hilt, and then we're also going to put the handle and the handguard in. And then from there we're going to add the rose and some other detail to it too. So let's do that next. So we're going to spread some hot glue into the inside of the hilt, and the hot glue is a space-filling glue too, so it's also going to help to fill up some of the gaps between the hilt and the blade. And it's also going to let us put the handle pressed up straight flat against the blade, in addition to solving kind of that space problem, filling those gaps. Now we're just going to press it flush against that blade. And a little bit of sandpaper on the side of the hilt will give us a nice clean connection for the handguard. And that's just to make sure the glue is really sticky. And we can use a little bit of extra glue to patch up any soft spots. And you'll want to take the white piece, which is the bottom of the rose, attach it to the bottom of the handle. We're going to use hot glue for that, because once again it's a space-filling glue. And the final piece is to attach the rose to the bottom, which is a really fun detail. And then we're going to go ahead and put that handguard on. For this part, we're going to get a bit of a stronger connection, so we're going to use a super glue, which is non-space filling, but it does give like a stronger bond with ABS plastic. So we're just going to put a thin layer of that between the handguard and the hilt. That'll act to bond the two together. And then a little bit of glue between the handguard and the base of the rose. And now one final squirt of hot glue is going to be just enough to really bolster up the handle, and that'll give it a final bit of strength. And that's it. Now we're finished. All right, now it's done. It's completely finished. We've built Rose's sword, and completely finished. This thing actually measures over 3 feet long, so it is big. We have the 4 blade segments, the hilt, the handguard, the handle, and then the rose at the end. You know, this was made originally by Dorito for Her, and I'll include a link to the original Thingiverse build in the description, and you can find a link to that below. We made it bigger, we split it into a bunch of parts and did a bunch of work on it. We're also going to be uploading this online, and you can find a link to the model in the description. As soon as we upload it, you'll be able to download it and print it out and make your own version of this really, really cool sword. If you like videos like this and you like printing stuff out, subscribe to this channel. We make content like this, and we keep making videos, and I think they're a lot of fun. You can find the button to subscribe to this channel up here in the corner. So just click right here. And then like this video, click that like button. Leave a comment in the description. Tell me what you want to see me print next. We make lots of build videos, but it's all stuff that I'm used to making. And if you have a suggestion, feel free to leave it. And until next time, have fun printing.